What's going on, guys? It's Mr. Creatine, and I'm sorry, I was supposed to upload a video on Thursday, but I ended up being really busy, and I can tell the story time as to why I was busy at some point soon, but anyway, for today's story time, I'm just going to be telling, like, a remastered version of one of my older stories from when I started the channel, so enough of me talking, let's just get into the video. So this story time all starts off pretty normal. It was a Saturday, I had woken up, and the only thing that, like, really wasn't normal for my Saturdays was I had a JV game for football at some point, so I had to be at my high school by, like, 1 in the afternoon, which honestly wasn't even that bad. So I basically just spent some time like getting all my stuff around so I didn't have to rush before I had to leave to go to the high school. And after I get all my stuff around, I get a text from somebody, and we'll just call this person Ashley. And I look at this text, and she essentially had just asked me like, "What's up? What are you doing?" And I told her, I was like, "I'm getting ready for a football game I have later, like, what are you doing?" And she told me that she's hanging out with one of her friends in town. And I was like, all right, that's pretty fun. And then she proceeded to ask me if I wanted to come like walk around the town with them, and where they were at was only like 10 minutes away from where I live at. So I said, you know what? I got some time to kill. Why the hell not? Because it was only like probably 10 in the morning at this point, not even. Like it was still really early. So I said, yeah, where you guys at? Like I'll come meet up with you. And she gave me a location, and I went and I started walking over to go meet up with them. And it took me like 10 minutes to walk over to where they were at. And when I had gotten there, I said hi to both of them. And we had kind of just spent the next like 30 minutes just fucking off, doing nothing, and walking around town. And while the three of us were hanging out, Ashley's friend, who we'll just call Maddie, starts getting in her phone a little bit. And that's fine. I've had friends who do that before. And eventually she just asked me and Ashley, she's like, hey, do you guys want to go over to my boyfriend's house? Like his parents aren't home. I'm trying to see him. I'm not going to lie. And I was really chill with her boyfriend and still am to this day, so obviously I agreed to do it. And him and Ashley are also really close friends, so she obviously didn't care. And so that was that. The three of us kind of just started walking over to his house, and so I don't have to keep calling him like him. I'll just call him Tony for the rest of the story. And yeah, we gotten over to Tony's house. We knocked on the door. He had let us all in, and we'd all just started hanging out in his kitchen for a little bit. And eventually, the four of us had all decided to just start migrating out to Tony's living room, and we all started sitting down on his couch. And after we started sitting on the couch, things started to get a little interesting, I'm not gonna lie. And that's because a conversation had started about the fact that Maddie and Tony had not kissed, so now you got me and Ashley just trying to get them to kiss out on Tony's couch. And that led into Ashley saying, you know what? If you guys kiss, me and Riddick will kiss. And I'm like, yeah, we will. Like, is that a good deal for you guys? And it seemed like they were considering it, but they were still like, nah. And the conversation just keeps going on for a little bit from there. And eventually, me and Ashley just decide that we're going to kiss and see what they do. So that's what we did. We kissed, and they still aren't budging. They aren't doing nothing. And after that, I don't remember exactly for what reason, but Tony and Maddie had gone up to Tony's room, and they had left me and Ashley downstairs on the couch. And me and Ashley kind of just said fuck it from there. And Ashley hopped up on my lap, and we just started making out for a couple of minutes. And I don't know if the two of us had like a moral dilemma for the fact that we were like getting frisky on our friend's couch, or if we had just decided to stop. But eventually we stopped making out with each other, and we both decided to wander upstairs over to Tony's room to see what they were doing. And thankfully, when we got up there, neither of them were like fucking or anything like that, so we didn't walk in on that. And after that, the four of us just kind of started hanging out in Tony's room for a little bit. Like, Tony started cracking some jokes about, like, oh, did you and Ashley have sex on my couch? And we were all like laughing our asses off, and it was just a really good time. And I started looking down at the clock on my phone, and I only got like an hour till I got to be over at the high school. So like I'm running low on time here, and I start telling the three of them that. And they all understood, like, my reasoning for having to leave, and they all proceeded to walk me out of Tony's house. I thanked them all for, like, the hangout, because I had a lot of fun. And I started walking back over to my house from there. It took me, like, 10 minutes to get back, and I didn't really do much up until I had to leave to go to the high school besides chill. So we just kind of fast forward to when my stepdad took me over to the high school, and I kind of just went downstairs, started chilling in the locker room for a little bit, you know, waiting for a football roll call to take place, which would normally be like 30 minutes into everybody being there. So I still had to wait a little bit for more people to show up, but eventually we did do roll call, and then all the JV players went and hopped up on the bus to depart to the school that we had to go to because we had an away game. And it was a long ass bus ride, I'm not gonna lie. We had to drive for like 40 minutes, and this bus ride was foul. Like, I was doing a lot of foul shit on this bus ride. Me and my one friend, who I'll just call Evan, we were dicking off the entire time because he sat like one seat across from me, and I was sitting with one of my other friends who was in the Ouija board story. I think I called him Andrew. I sat next to him basically the entire football season, and we just dicked around the entire time. It was actually bad. And eventually we get over to the school that we're going to be playing in this game, and all the JV players had to be like partially ready before we even got to our game. So I basically just had to slip my shoulder pads on and then started practice with the rest of my team before the game because we had to do like walkthroughs and shit. And after going through some walkthroughs, running some of our plays on offense a little bit, we were ready to start the game off, and it was a pretty good game, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure it was fairly low scoring. I'm not too sure of that though. But yeah, we had went through the game. I'd scored a touchdown on offense while playing tight end, which you guys can clown on me for the fact that I was a 16-year-old playing JV in the comments, but I have no fucking like athletic ability whatsoever, so I'm very proud of myself for it. But yeah, we had finished the game. We had won. So we had done like, I don't know if you've seen any football players do this after games, but they go and like high five each other, say good game, running across the 50-yard line, and yeah, we had all started like getting undressed out of our pads and shit after that. I'm not gonna lie, after JV games, I would straight up just strip out of my pads and girdle, and if I had to, I would sit in my boxers out on the bus. Like, I gave no shits whatsoever. But anyway, we had all finished like getting our stuff off, and we all started to go back onto the bus, and I had sat down next to Andrew. He had the window seat, and the bus ride had just started, and after like 10 minutes of driving through this bus ride, I realized something, that one of our teammates, who we'll just call Jaden, isn't on the bus, and I got mildly concerned, I'm not gonna lie, because of the fact that we saw like a car crash immediately after, and I started texting Jaden, and I'm like, yo, where you at? And he's like, oh, I just got a ride home. And then people on the bus started noticing the fact that Jaden was also gone, and they started messing with our coach about it. They're like, yo, coach, we forgot Jaden at the high school. And our coach actually was like believing it for a second, I'm not gonna lie. But eventually, we stopped messing with coach because we didn't want to have to run at the next practice right after we had played a game. And like 5 to 10 minutes after this, my friend Andrew looks at me, he's like, Riddick, you scored that touchdown, right? We got to celebrate. And he just whips out his can of Zins, and Andrew, like, every single practice, he would just have Zins. Like, he would end up throwing them in this one dude's locker. I think I call him Max in story times. And, yeah, he looks at me. He's like, come on, let's celebrate. You want to pop one for the first time finally? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm sure it won't be that bad. And it was like a 6 milligram, I think it was spearmint or wintergreen Zin or something like that. And he just handed me it. I popped it in my, upper lip. I threw in the upper decky, and after I threw it in, we just kept going on with the bus ride. And I'm not gonna lie, the bus ride got so much longer after I popped this in. I don't know if it was just because of the fact I was getting like nicotine buzz or some shit like that, but it just felt so much longer than it actually was. And I'm kind of just sitting there in my seat with my head down. I've been drinking water because Andrew told me it was a good thing to be drinking water after you popped his in. And eventually I like lift my head up, and I felt so fucking dizzy. Like, I just did not feel good whatsoever. And he looks at me and he's like, yo, Riddick, are you doing okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I don't feel the greatest. And Andrew's like, you feeling pukey a little bit? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, just keep drinking your water. You'll be okay. Like, if you really need to, take it out. Like, put it in your bag. I don't know. And after like 10 more minutes of me just sitting there with the Zin in my mouth, I eventually take it out, and he's like, yeah, that might be a good idea because you don't look the greatest right now. And I was just like, thanks, I really don't feel the greatest right now. And then shortly after that, I got hit up by this one girl I was friends with, who I'll just call like Kayla. And Kayla had asked me if I'd wanted to hang out because she was in the town that I'd lived at, and I was like, I don't know, I don't really feel good. I'm on my way home from a football game right now, like, maybe we'll see. And she's like, okay, just let me know. Like, I'll be over at the high school to, like, pick you up if you still want to hang out. And I was like, all right, bet, I'll see you then. And kind of just continued with the bus ride from there. I still did not feel good at all, and we only had, like, I think 10 minutes left of the bus ride. And this last, like, 10-15 minutes of this drive, I felt like absolute dog shit. Like, I was just sitting there. I had my head down. My stomach felt terrible. Andrew was, like, coaching me through it like he's my scared mother or some shit, and eventually we get back over to the high school. I'm like getting up, I'm stumbling, I got my big ass duffel of all my things, my like shoulder pads, and I just wander out of the bus like in my boxers with a t-shirt on, and my Coach looks at me. He's like, Riddick, are you feeling okay? I'm like, not really. My stomach hurts. I'm tired. I'm just ready to go home. He's like, all right, buddy. I hope you feel better. Like, see you tomorrow. He didn't see me tomorrow. I did not go to school or practice. But, yeah, I wandered off the bus. I went looking for Kayla's car, and eventually I found it. I asked her if I could throw my stuff in her back seat. She obviously didn't care, and she looked at me. She took one look, and she's like, okay, do you want me to take you home? I think she could definitely tell something was wrong given the fact that I looked like shit and was in my underwear. But I was like, yes, please. Like, I'm sorry that we can't hang out and that, like, I had you waiting here. She's like, it's fine. Like, I understand. And she took me home. I said thank you for the ride home. I told her to get home safe. And then I went inside my house. My mom took one look at me. She's like, what the hell happened to you? And I was like, Andrew gave me a Zen on the bus. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel good. And she knew who Andrew was. And she's like, motherfucker, Riddick. And I was like, I'm gonna go lay down in my room. I don't know if I'm going to school tomorrow. My mom is very lenient with me missing school, or she was when I was still in school. And she's like, okay, like, if you need anything, let me know, or let your brother know, because my older brother was still living there at the time. And I was like, okay, thank you. Like, love you. Good night. And then I pretty much went to my room and went to bed from there. And that's where today's story time ends. And if you guys enjoyed today's story time, drop a like and comment some other videos you guys want to see in the future. And if you're new, you should definitely subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I'll be live on TikTok at some point today, either playing Sons of the Forest, the game I have on in the background, or like Minecraft or some shit. But yeah, I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye.